I coming. Let me see. Yes, I need to.
I just stopped it so we can.
Yeah.
Hello and greetings. Welcome to another episode of Completely Wholes, Wholeness Wednesdays.
Good morning, or good afternoon, or maybe it's evening. It doesn't really matter what time it is, and it doesn't even matter where you are. We want to welcome you to Wholeness Wednesdays. So grab a cup of coffee or tea and join our host, Beatrice Hutchison, as we explore and experience our journey to complete wholeness.
All right. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so glad that you are here with us today, here on Completely Wholes Wholeness Wednesdays. And so at on this channel, we explore what it means to live intentionally whole in every area of our lives, right? So we talk about the four pillars: physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and financially. So today we're diving deep into a topic that affects so many, yet often goes unspoken: seasonal depression. And as we face these darker months, it's crucial to understand how the changing seasons can impact our mental health and how we can claim or reclaim a sense of balance and hope. So, together, we'll unpack the realities of seasonal depression and discover ways to move through it toward a brighter, more whole version of ourselves. And here to share in the discussion with us is a mental health professional. I like to call her a dear sister and friend. I'm so excited that she decided to join us or agreed to join us here tonight to just share some of her expertise and some of her just knowledge and experience that she's encountered over the years. She's been in the mental health field for many years, and I'm so appreciative for her, just her sisterhood, her friendship. You know how you always have that person that's in your corner, that's praying for you, that's encouraging you. That's this person. And so I'm so glad that you are here with us. And so, Pastor Juana Blunt, we're so glad that you are here with us. Please, I said a few things about you, right? But not anything close to everything that you are and who you are, right? So please introduce yourself to the audience. Tell them who you are and what you do.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone who's listening, who's here with us. For me, it's a pleasure to be here, be part of this podcast, be here with my sister, like I call her. Um, and my name, first of all, is Juana Blount. And what I do generally, like she's playing, I do mental health, um, and in different areas, but most focusing on with children's and families, parents, and those who approach to me and ask me for different questions. I like to be as professional as possible, but I'm a regular person, and also I'm a pastor, so I guide the flocks when it's possible, and they allow me to guide them. But this is what I do, and it's part of my strength. And God is, the first and of all what I do in this field.
Wonderful. And thank you again for being with us. So let's
Yeah.
dive in because this is a very, very important topic. And I think that a lot of people don't know about it. So it's important for us to talk about it, right? We believe in bringing awareness here, right? So that we can all
Yes.
become healed and whole, so that we can have more fulfilled lives. So, can you first just explain to us what is seasonal depression and how does it differ from other types of depression?
Okay, so well, seasonal depression is depression they call seasonal affective disorder (SAD), and is the type of depression in which seasonal changes occur. According to the National Suicide Hotline and Mental Health Resources, um, the reduction of some sun exposure at this time of the year causes disturbances in your circadian rhythm, which is called the clock of your internal body. You know, so when you don't have exposure to the sun, so your serotonin, which is an hormone that affects your mood, become lower. So, and then also disrupt the melatonin or the hormone that affects your sleeping patterns and moods. And all these can lead to feeling of depression. So, seasonal affective disorder (SAD) differ from other type of depression because it's like a seasonal trigger that which typically will happen during the winter season, which we are right now at this moment. So the lack of sun lining or the exposure of those temperatures that we may be used to, and then it become worse um, to us, and typically only lasts like 4 to 5 months, um, which is in the period time of the winter. But the different from that disorder, with that seasonal disorder, is completely different than the other disorders that we have hear about, and we other type of depression that we call about. That is the major depressive disorder, is persistent feeling of sadness, loss of interest, and then the other one is persistent depressive disorders, that's the PDD. There is a low grade of chronic depression. And then we have also the postpartum depression, the PPD, that is depression the following from childbirth. Then we also have the bipolar disorder. There is a condition involving like a manic depressive episodes. So, but this type of depression um, is not like the seasonal depression, because the seasonal depression happen mostly in the winter because the lack of exposure to the sun. So that's the difference of these two, the seasonal depression and the other depression that we hear before.
Wow. Very informative. Thank you so much for that. And so, what are some common signs or symptoms that we might see from someone that's experiencing or dealing with seasonal affective disorder?
So, for example, socialization um, can be like you see someone that is usually going out, have fun, and go with the friends, enjoys to be, in gatherings, and all of a sudden that person withdraw from that social interaction. You immediately can say, especially if it happened during this time in the winter, that probably that person is suffering from SAD. uh, the other is like, for example, the emotional part of it, um, like persistent sadness, loss of interest in activities that you maybe, like I said, probably before you used to enjoy, and you don't wanna do that anymore. You feeling hopeless, low energy, and you may be experiencing like being fatigued, increased appetite, but more for things or foods that is not healthy for you. Like for example, you wanna be going to McDonald's all the time, so things like that. And for example, you feel like kind of lethargic, lacking of energy, weight gain, because you're eating things that you're not supposed to be eating, unhealthy foods. And for example, also you increase the sleeping pattern. You want to sleep more and more and more. So that's some of the some of the things that you see often, when you're going through that depression season.
Okay. All right. Is there someone that would be more at risk of developing SAD? Are there like specific factors that might contribute to it?
So for example, we can say that anyone can develop a SAD. And, relatively, women, 60 to 90% of cases are females during the reproductive years, for example. Young adults from 18 to 30 years, college students, middle age from 40 to 60, those who have history of depression, or all those adults from 65, those who maybe have some dementia or cognitive impairments, and people who live in not sunny areas, or like for example, some people that coming from the Caribbean, when it's the sun is exposure all the time, you're exposed to the sun, and then all of a sudden you come to an area when the sunlight is not often, showing. So you can easily be depressed during that time. You can feel depressed.
Yes, very interesting. Very informative. So, thank you for that information that you've shared in reference to what it is, right, and the symptoms around it. Because I feel like a lot of people experience it, but don't know how to necessarily identify it.
Yes.
And so we brought the awareness now to what it is, what it looks like. So, can you now give me have you ever experienced this in your years of practicing mental health? Have you ever experienced anyone or even a personal experience with this SAD?
Yes. Actually, I'm a person that coming from a sunlight country, which the sun is upon me all the time. Sure, when I came here, and I was exposed to be in the winter. In the time that I came, it was the winters. It was kind of rough. Like, you feel this. You see the snow so big that you were saying like, "Oh my God, how am I gonna be able to walk or be able to survive?" In this environment. So it was very, very difficult. But then my body get adjusted to the winter. So I don't know. It's something maybe because you exposed to it, you get adjusted to it. But through all these years that I've been, you know, working as a mental health, I have a lot of families that I speak with, or coworkers that they um, they experience it, SAD, either because and the type of economic, maybe they're not relatively in a good sense of be able to buy gift to the family members, or because it's a time of festive times, and they maybe don't have the money or to be able to buy to the loved ones and stuff like that. So you see the drop of engagement, and they if you talk to them or you ask them how they doing, you see like they want to cry, or they kind of like depressed. They don't want to speak, or they don't want to talk about it because is they going through a hard time during that period. of
Okay.
winter time.
Yes, absolutely. And we are in the thicket of it now, right? We're in the winter time, and certainly, definitely, this is definitely relevant to now. So now let's kind of pivot a bit. Let us talk a little bit more, focus a little bit more on healing and coping strategies. So you shared with us, how it looks, how it can have effects on our physical bodies. You talked about sleeping more, you talked about eating more and gaining
Hmm.
weight,
Yes.
and even like the effects that it would have on you emotionally and mentally. So,
Hmm.
um, let's talk a little bit about how one can seek healing and how we can cope, right? So, because we always want to give some practical strategies.
Yes.
So what practical strategies or treatments would you advise or would you offer that could help individuals manage SAD?
Well, so first, first of most is recognize when you feel some of the symptoms, which is fatigue. You feel lethargic. You feel like you craving foods that you're not supposed to be eating. Like you see that, oh, I don't wanna be in a social interaction. I'm withdrawing instead to be participating. Like for example, your sleep patterns change completely. Um, and most of all is, you know yourself better than anyone. So you see that something is not the same as you used to be in the summer. You was so happy in the summer, you was in gatherings, you was enjoying yourself, having so much fun, and all of a sudden when the winter start, then you feel down, you feel depressed. So then you say something is happening, because I don't feel myself. So at that time, you just gotta look for, seek for professional help, which is your primary care doctor. You can look for a psychotherapist that can also, guide you through the process and what to do, and or mental health professional who can guide you through that process.
Wonderful. And so, how important is maintaining physical health, right? Do you feel that maybe taking care of our bodies, maybe if we exercise, if we're a little bit more fit, we get the proper amounts of sleep, if we, watch the things that we eat, do you think that that could help with dealing with the symptoms of SAD?
Yes, because you gotta eat healthy for healthy foods, things that have a lot of whole grain. For example, you know, you can also look for a nutritionist who can guide you through what is the best food so you can eat according to your body, because all of us have a different structure, and that person can guide you during that process and how to, what to eat, what is the best thing to eat in the different seasons. But one of the things that I always, and the doctors recommend that during this time when you're not receiving the sun, and the vitamin D that we call, it's important to get that vitamin D. They also say the omega 3 is beneficial for your physical body to be able to go through that process and feel much better. So your well-being is is so important. Physical exercises, like for example, go outside during the day. Create a journal. Say, okay, um, 3 times a day, or 3 times a week, I gonna go step out early before I go to work. I gonna go outside and look the sun coming, even though it's not hitting me as regular, but look the daylight. Um, for example, also, uh, you know. and your emotional well-being, just always do positive self-talk. You can do this. It's possible. I gonna be able to journal and write down. Today I feel like this, and then share it with someone, your primary physician, who can guide you through that process and how to overcome SAD, because it's not something easy to deal with during that period of time, which is in the winter.
Hmm. Wonderful. That is very informative. So you mentioned all the ways that we could kind of put some strategies, all the strategies we can put in place to help us to kind of battle some of that, along with, dealing with our mental health professionals, our primary care physician, all
Mhm.
of those sorts of things. So that's wonderful. Thank you so much for that advice. Um, do you feel that self compassion can play a role in headache or the healing process?
Absolutely, yes. Because sometimes we're so hard to ourselves for some reason or another. Um, Either we are perfectionists, we want everything be okay, um, and um, we say, oh my God, you got to do this, but be compassionate with yourself and say, for example, you're tired today. It's okay. If you don't finish today, maybe you can finish tomorrow. And say beautiful things about yourself. Like, you love yourself. Um, just sometimes maybe go go to the beauty parlor and pay, a little dollars for you because you work for it. And, do things that you enjoy. And then, love yourself, pamper yourself, because self-care is important as well, so we have to do that. That's the most permanent, the self-care and life. Self-care, therapy, exercise, meditation, deep breathing, because sometimes we don't breathe. We just like walking, doing this, and we don't get that little time just at least to breathe. So that's a self-compassion. You just helping yourself, you know, to be able to cope with these difficult times.
Absolutely. That is so powerful. It's true because we don't you mentioned the self-care. We're certainly at the end, because at the end, in the end months, right? We are finishing the year, we're at the end of the year, and sometimes this is the time that we're most reflective, where we look back over the year and we think about all the things that we had planned that we didn't do, right? The things that we fell off from. And so we can be our own worst critic. We could beat up on ourselves a whole lot, right? So definitely that could play a role. So thank you so much for mentioning that we have to love ourselves and we have to
Yes.
implement self care. And I know
Mm.
that is always your mantra: take care of yourself, love yourself. And so
Yes.
that is so important. And we have to, because we have to be intentional about it. If we don't set out to do it, then
Yes.
we won't do it. And so,
Yes.
especially if we know that this is something that we are challenged with, especially during the times that, the darker seasons, right? The winter months, then we can be a little proactive and start doing some of the things that you recommended to kind
Yes.
of prepare ourselves and try to
Yes.
kind of support ourselves.
Yes.
So wonderful. Thank you so much for that. And so, what advice would you give to someone that is feeling isolated, right? Or even ashamed that they may be dealing with some of these issues? Maybe they're a little too afraid to, say, seek out a psychotherapist, as you mentioned. What would you recommend for that person?
Okay, so if the person is isolated, most of the time, we isolated because either we feel that no one's care for us. We sometimes get isolated because, you know within ourselves, we don't feel good. Something that that thought that comes in mind make us feel bad, you know. So I don't know if that person, whoever may be listening to us at this moment, have a friend or someone that they feel that they can talk to and express how that they feel, because loneliness isn't a good friend. It's not a good friend. um you have to have someone that you can reach out in difficult times. And if you don't have that person, speak with your physician. The physician also can connect you with connecting you with, for example, people or groups that they gather together during this seasonal depression time or the seasonal times, that you can be able to enjoy them, talk about how do you feel, what is happening to you, and all that. So that you can have somebody that you can relate to, whatever you're going through at that particular moment. But seek for help. Do not stay by yourself, crying in that depression. You need to contact someone that can be able to reach out to you and help you through that process.
Okay.
Yes.
And so let us move to talking about how SAD can affect you spiritually and financially, right? Because we cover all the pillars here. And so, how can connecting to your spiritual practices or your relationship with God, how can those things help to aid in healing? And a community, like you talked about, having a community of people, that you could also like fellowship with and be around. How can that help the healing journey, other than getting us from being isolated? What else
Yeah.
can it do for us towards
Okay.
helping us to
So,
heal?
well, I always gonna recommend prayers because I'm a person of prayers. Um, I like to reflect, be reflective, uh, with your spiritual being, um, and then be inspired to those who in the community, maybe reach out to you, or either you don't reach out, but wow, it's a church over there. Let me just go and gather with other peoples. If you don't like, go to church, it's a different communities that have different gatherings, um, a cafe, or some people go to other gatherings that people just coffee and sit down and talk about about talking and having conversations, or go to a restaurant. I have a friend that she meet her husband in a restaurant. She just went to the restaurant. She sit down there and she say, "Oh, let's go and drink some coffee." And she really enjoyed that time. Yes. So, practice meditation, love and kindness, and benefit from a spiritual community and social support. And be, feel that sense of belongings, part of that community that you live, around, and sharing experiences. Sometimes whatever maybe you go through, somebody is going through, and they don't know what to do, but you already know what to do. So share those experiences with those people in the community, so they can help one another.
All right. Sorry about that.
Yes.
All right. So, seasonal depression can sometimes impact our productivity, right? Which in turn can affect our finances. So, how would you advise that we balance ourselves or balance these areas during difficult times?
Wow. Um, just considering budgeting, um, because you don't know how your your seasonal this seasonal times is going to affect you. So if you already practice budgeting and putting things in perspective, that will help you to be able to manage on those difficult times. Um, then also, like for example, having those co-workers who, sometimes you can talk to them, and be they can be supportive to you. Um, so and be be go to a professional who can help you and how to increase productivity, um, and how to do different things. Now we in the times of, um, you can work online, you can do a lot of stuff, and you can make a little extra during this time. You can go online and say, oh, let me do this or do that, if you savvy, and you can make a little extra just to be able to, managing, during these difficult times, because SAD can be difficult. So, probably you feel to be at home, not too much outside, and that's one of the parts, because you don't want to gather, you don't want to socialize. So that means that is a part of it. So looking for professional help will help you to overcome that SAD, during this season.
Thank you so much for that. And so you talked a little, well, you talked quite a bit about having support systems, right? You talked about having others or groups of people, or that's someone that we could trust,
Mhm,
having that friend, having that relative, someone that we can depend on when we're going through these difficult times. And
mhm.
so if we find ourselves in the place that we are the person that would need to give support to someone that is dealing with SAD, how would you, like, what are some things that we should not say, or what are some things that we should do to try to support someone that we know and love that's dealing with SAD?
Okay. So first of all, we need to be an active listener, um, without judging, the person who's explained to us what's happening to them. Um, be able to be emotional connected with the person when the person is talking to you. Um, Provide resources if it's available to you, where they can go to receive some type of counseling or support. You have to be patient, and remember that they not, you have to remember that you're not alone, as well as they not alone. They need to meet, with someone who will be able to support them during that difficult time. So
Absolutely.
be an active listener, um, without judging them. That can be a very helpful, um, moment for them, because you also showing compassion, and you connecting with them with what they're going through. You just tell them, for example, uh, I would feel the same if I was in your situation. So you're making a connection with that person, and you telling them, I'm listening. What do you you communicating to me, and you're not alone. I'm here for you. You know, you have my arm, you have my hands, to be your hands if you don't have it. I'm your mind right now. If you don't know how to think, how to put the words together, I'm here for you to support you. If you don't have no arms to cry, I'm here. I can be your arms to cry. So you make that person feel that you are part of you're gonna go with them as they go. In another words, meet them where they are, and help them and support them as much you can.
Wow, Pastor Blunt, that is powerful, powerful. Is being active, not just being an active listener, but you talked about being in it with them, right? Like helping
Yes.
them to know that they're not alone in going through it, that you're also going through it with them and
Mm-hmm.
empathizing with them, and but
Yes.
really being in it with them and helping them to work through it. Like
Yes.
that's powerful. I don't know if many people understand the gravity of what you shared, because that's real support, right? Like that's not just listening to what someone says, but that's being a real support and helping someone to really walk through it and really get through what they're dealing with. And so
Yes.
if we can just so we're talking a lot about, just dealing with someone that may be dealing with SAD. But how can someone that may be experiencing some of these symptoms that you mentioned, so if someone is dealing with SAD, what is something that you would offer that you could say to them that could help them to reframe their perspective, right? To see the darker seasons of life as an opportunity for growth and renewal. Because yes, the SAD comes at those dark, darker months, those darker seasons, where we, as you mentioned, that we don't have that exposure to the sun, right? But we experience dark seasons throughout our lives, right? If we live long enough,
Yes.
we go through some challenging seasons that could really, really seem dark to us. And so, what are some things that you would say, or what could you say that would help us to see those darker times as an opportunity to grow?
Okay. So one of the things, avoid avoid people that, instead to help you or lift you up, um, make you feel depressed more than you are. So you have to be around people who will help you to overcome that depression or that difficult time that you're going through. Um, you gotta have a positive self-talk. You have to talk good about yourself. You have to feel good about yourself. And if you cannot do that on your own, you have to look and seek for a professional who can help you during that process. Because, sometimes it's not easy, especially if since probably childhood you haven't heard anything positive about yourself. So now you need to relearn to talk good about yourself, say beautiful things about yourself, and be first that person. Because, and I say this because, we're in a system of energy. Um, so if I talk good about myself, that's the way people is gonna perceive me. They gonna connect with me and feel good around me because I talk positive about myself. You know, so be reflective. Developing the reflective thinking, and um, be able to nurture yourself with kind words. You know, and seek for that feelfulness, that you feel ground, you feel love, uh, and and everyone look for that inner peace differently. For example, me, I look for it in prayers. I like to pray. I like to read the Bible, you know. Um, but everyone is different, Whatever what help you to be uplift and help you to feel better about yourself, just do it. If he is just go to the beauty parlor, do your nails, or do your feet, or just put nice yourself, and for example, I don't know, putting something our color that make you feel good. Just do it, you know um because that's gonna help you to overcome whatever depression, self and positive self-talk, and reflective, being reflective. I'm a human being. I'm not a perfect, but every day I trying to do something better for me and for those who surrounding me. That that that's that's the main thing.
Wonderful, wonderful. I do hope that the audience is catching everything that Pastor Blunt is saying. She is dropping some wisdom to us. So I hope that you are catching it because it's very, very important. Yes, we are talking about SAD, but she's also speaking a lot about self love and how to support yourself, how to encourage yourself. Like in the Bible, David said, I encourage myself in the Lord, right? Sometimes we have to find things, like you said, things that help us to be encouraged, that help us to feel better about ourselves.
Yes.
And you're so right. Many of us have not experienced that as children, right? So we have to
Mhm.
kind of learn it.
Yes.
So it's so important. Every what you've been saying is so powerful, and I do appreciate you so much for sharing those things. Is there anything else that you would like to say? Any final words that you would like to share to the audience for those that might be seeking wholeness in the area of SAD, but also in just loving themselves, um, just seeking wholeness in their lives mentally and emotionally?
Well, the and looking through this SAD, the author talk about the importance of being a light, be in the light. So when you feel like that you may be missing the sunlight, be in the light. I remember, and I will say this briefly, when I was approximately probably 5 to 6 years old. My father used to put me standing in front of the sun. And he said, before you go to school, every day you have to put yourself in front of the sun, um, because you have to take your vitamin D every day. So I remember as a little kid, I used to stand in front of the sun every day. All my brothers, sisters, we was like a lineup, looking at the sun. And um, just thinking about it and being reflective, I see now the importance of why my father was doing that. And now as an adult, I still like when it's summertime, I like to feel the sun, when I'm driving or anything like that. But in relates to SAD, the author is it was talking about that it's important to you know get some type of light. You gotta go outside early in the morning, walk, um, um, do some, put some light around where you live in your room or anything that you can feel like, okay, you have that light, what you need. But you know, I cannot um, finish this without saying that for me, the Word of God is my light. That's what which enlighten me, um, and guide me through all my steps, whatever I do, because that's what is the Word of God, the light. However, I know that we don't have audience that are believers. Probably we have audience that not believers. Just make sure that you use that light. You do some physical walks every day. Create that journal. Write down, okay, Monday I'm gonna go and walk around this area for 5 minutes because it's cold. But at least I'm gonna get the sun, or at least I'm gonna get some of the light from outside. Just prepare yourself, think about it. If you cannot do it by yourself, seek for help, seek for someone who can support you, a friend that live near. Hey, do you would like to be, part of this journey that I want to do? I want to go outside for 5 minutes every day to get the light from outside. And maybe they gathering together and you guys go outside and have that, uh, eat healthy, um, look for a nutritioner who can guide you. What is the best food that you can eat? Um, Talk to your primary physician. They can guide you through all that process. But don't forget that, you know, that you are important, that you have to love yourself, that you have to talk positive to yourself, and self care every day. And then every day that you wake up, be thankful because, you know, when you are thankful for what you have at that moment, that gonna increase the sense of self-love, positive self-talk, and compassion to your own self because you're thankful for what you have and what you have received that day, that you can wake up and breathe every morning and deal with the things that you need to deal for that day, and be thankful be
Wonderful.
thankful.
Wonderful. Amen. Yes, we are to be thankful, and thank you for those final words, but just words of wisdom, just kind of summarizing all that you said, bringing us back to the main points, like the important things of what we must do, the strategies that we need to employ in order to be healed in this area. And so this discussion has been so rich, and I'm so grateful again that you've joined us. And so I love that you are a mental health professional, but you're also a Christian, right? So you see it from a different perspective as well, which is also so powerful and so needed in the world today, right? So many challenges that people are facing.
Yes.
But so in closing, I want you to just mention to people about your company, because what we did not say in the beginning is that Pastor Blunt is also an entrepreneur, right? So she does have her own businesses, right? So she has other things that she also does. So not just in consulting and really counseling with others, but she has some other things that she does. So please tell us about the other things that you do, and where could the audience find you if they wanted to connect with you?
Okay. So, my company, thank you so much for having me here with you, and for your audience who've been listening. My company name is J Melody Bilingual Music Development, LLC, and I'm a DOE vendor. And in this company, we provide piano lessons, and music and movement for enhancing the children's and this type of development, you know um, steps. um, and then I also do this consulting and professional mental health, and I can be reached at the phone number is 347 372 3096, and the email address for J Melody is jmelodybmd at jmelodybmd.com. So I can be reached anytime. Just be patient if I don't reach you so quick. Um, but I'm just in the process of developing and expand the business. So thank you so much for being an active listener and to be here with us with Miss Beatrice, my sister. And I love you guys. You know, I don't know you, but I love you already. Love within.
Yes, and we love you too, Pastor Blunt, and thank you so much. And so her contact information I will also share in the description box below, in case you would like to reach out to her or even just learn more about the services that she provides. So again, Pastor Blunt, thank you so much for being with us. And thank you to all of you, our listeners. Thank you for joining us for today's episode of Wholeness Wednesdays. And so if this episode or something that we talked about resonates with you, or if it reminds you of someone that you know that may be dealing with what we talked about, please share it to them. Hopefully, our goal was in hopes that it would help you to also seek healing if this is something that you've been dealing with, but hopefully it also served as encouragement to you. So please do share it with someone that may be dealing with these things, so that they could also in turn be encouraged. And don't forget to subscribe, leave a review. It helps us to reach more people that are seeking wholeness. And so, a couple of weeks ago, just as we close out with our little final announcements, a couple of weeks ago, I did an episode where I did a brief overview of multiple streams of income. And so, if you would like to dive deeper, because I did a brief overview, if you would like to dive deeper into the topic and find out how to identify and how to create your own multiple streams of income, join us on Thursday, next Thursday, which is the 19th at 8 p.m. And we will be doing uh, a training, a class, a workshop, whatever you'd like to call it, but it will be additional information, so that we'll be able to really dive deep. We'll be there together for an hour and a half. And so the registration link will be in the description box below. And so as we end, as we often do together, I'm going to ask that you would affirm with me. And so please repeat after me. I declare
I declare
that I will cast my cares
that I will cast my care
upon God
abundant
because he cares for me.
because He cares for me.
And I decree
And I decree
that I will apply
that I will apply
what I have learned tonight
what I have learned tonight
to be made whole
to make me whole
mentally and emotionally.
mentally and emotionally.
Amen. And my prayer for each of you is that you will receive healing and complete wholeness in every area of your life. And I'm Beatrice Hutchison. And remember, your journey to complete wholeness starts here. And so until next time, take care of yourself, mind, body, and soul. Stay blessed and be made whole.
Yay.
We thank you for sharing this time with us here at Wholeness Wednesdays. Thank you for joining us to explore and experience this journey to complete wholeness. Please remember that we are only an email away. Your questions and input are welcome via bhutch at completelywhole1.com. See you next time here at Wholeness Wednesdays.
God bless you, Pastor Blunt. We enjoyed you. We love you all. Be blessed. Take care. All right. So it stopped recording
Yep.
and we are good to go. So I don't know if you see it on your screen somewhere. It says
I
uploading.
see uploading recording.
Yes. So we just have
Yes.
to wait till it's at 100%.
Okay. It checks already.
Oh, yours is already uploaded. Okay. I'm still
Yeah.
waiting for mine. Oh, so wonderful. You did a great job. You did a great job. I had to pause because all of a sudden I lost sound. So I
Oh,
couldn't hear you. So I had to sign in on my other device so that I could hear you because I
you
couldn't. All of a
see,
sudden, the
that's what
sound
I
went
had.
out.
I had two, three devices here. I say whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, me too. Me too. But you were fine. Like I lost the sound and I'm like, okay, I can't hear you. I said, well, let me log in on another
Oh,
device and see if it's me. But it was me. And because when I
oh.
logged into the
So
other device, I could hear you.
okay. So that's what I see in a moment. They use kind of like, and then I say, what happened? What's going on? But I say, let me keep talking because I don't
I'm
know.
glad you
So
did.
I
Yep,
just
because they
keep
could hear
talking.
you. They could hear you. And we
Okay, I
had a
got
couple of people
you.
that were on live with us.